Right, okay, so this is me, Andy Drinkwater. I am an SEO consultant based up in Chester, and I have been in the market now for 18 years, which feels like an absolute lifetime. I specialise in a few different areas, technical SEO, which is loosely what tonight is going to be based about, online reputation management, so if you've ever done anything naughty, Google's found out about it and your results are there, I help bury them. And SEO auditing, which Andrew will talk about a little bit later on as well, I think. So we'll have a look at that. Other things I do as well. So I am one of the co-founders of SEO Chester, which is a similar sort of thing, a meetup that we have once a month up in Chester with Mike Field, Craig Campbell, who's sat at the back. And if anybody was following the Twitter conversation last night, tonight is, with all the numbers here, Craig is the person that is responsible for that, and everybody's here because Craig is coming down to meet them again. So thank you for coming down and humbling us as well with your presence as well. Okay, so what else I do as well? I help out on Moz with their Q&A forum. So anybody who's got any problems, issues on SEO, then I'll always try and sort of chip in if I can do there as well. And I'm also sort of been doing a little bit more in terms of webinars with SEMrush recently as well. Anybody that knows me knows that I live on Twitter. I'm always on there, pretty much 24/7. Alternatively, if anybody ever needs to get hold of me, you can do so through my website as well. Now, tonight, what I want to talk about is something that has been a bit of like an ongoing joke between myself and Andrew as well about internal linking. And it's something I do an awful lot of tweeting about, and I love to share results from clients, see what they're actually going to get from this. So internal linking at a very basic level is telling Google which are your most important pages. And from these most important pages, trying to make sure that people understand the actual structure of the site as well. So the structure is for Google, the structure is for ease of use. If you don't have all of these, then you may be sort of destined to failure a little bit. So these are all live results that I have had over the last sort of 6 months. And as you can see there, sort of, what's this one, 40,000 results. Through internal linking, we got 5 positions to number 1 for a SERP with 40,000 searches each month. This is another example of a client, 33,000 searches a month, where I've added the internal links. Now then, this particular one, one of the things you've got to think about with internal linking is you don't want to just try and pull this out of nowhere. It's got to be something that makes sense as well. So with this particular one, there had to be some additional content added to the hub page in question. And then did a final fetch as Google, and then we saw a lovely traffic spike at the end of it, which has sort of continued to stay where it is. And another one just before Christmas, which I was very, very pleased with. Another one, 33,000 search results a month. Incidentally, if anybody's wondering where I get these numbers from, this is a tool called AccuRanker, which some may or may not know about as well. Again, internal links doing amazing things for me. And a final one there. This one, I did the same sort of thing, internal links again, doing what they should be doing, but there was also a few problems with the site as well. This one's actually continued to grow a little bit as well past where we're at the moment. So there were problems from a technical point of view with the site as well. Now then, the first thing is preparing your site. It makes it difficult for everybody, including Google as well, if you've got a site that is not well structured. And this is using a tool called Sitebulb. Some may or may not be aware of it. Sitebulb is a tool that you will literally run on your computer, Mac, PC, whichever it is, and it will actually show you the structure of your site, which is a really big help when you're looking at these sorts of things. Now, this is pretty much a good example of a site that's well structured. I can see no real problems with this. You've got your home page right in the center, you've got your primary pages around the outside, and then you've got your supplementary content, which sort of sits outside of there as well. This one, on the other hand, was an absolute nightmare to try and pick a way through as well. And this is a client that's ongoing at the moment. So if you look here, you can sort of see the home page nestled down there in the bottom half. And from there, you have pages interlinked. You've got content interlinked. And the furthest reaches up towards the top right there are actually 19 clicks away from the home page. So this was actually a result of them trying to be a little bit smart with Google and say, right, okay, well, I'm going to create lots of pages, lots of content, all about the same subject, but we'll change the title a little bit. We'll reword the content a little bit. And what they've ended up with is a page that should have a site that should have no more than about 200 pages. And the net result of this is, including all the blogs and the archives and everything else that's there, there's I think there's about 32,000 there at the moment. So I've got a task for them at the moment, which is to basically pull down all the duplicate content and make some sense of it, and then we can go back in as well. Okay, so what would a good site structure look like? This would be the ideal for everybody. You've got your home page, your tier 1, which could be your primary category pages. Then tier 2, which might even be at this level, might be your product pages. But for most people, if it's an e-commerce site, that sort of thing, you might find tier 3 is where your product pages are actually at. And the reason you do this is twofold. You do this so you make it easy for yourself, and then you're going to make it easy for Google. If you've got a site that's halfway decent, everybody's going to be able to find a way around this, no matter what. But for an internal linking point of view, you're going to be wanting to link from maybe your tier 3 back to your tier 1 web pages themselves. This is going to make it a little bit easier to say to Google, these are the important pages that I've actually got to show you. Okay, and then hub pages. This is one of the big primary areas that you're going to be looking at with any internal linking structure is hub pages. And your hub page is your primary keyword page. Now then, that is going to make it difficult for some sites that aren't structured particularly well at the moment. Or it might even be that you say, right, okay, well, I need to make some changes now. At this point, I decided that we need to actually create a structure whereby we have pages that actually mean something to those that are searching. So it might be that we have here a hub page, a ride-on lawnmowers. What's not a hub page, and please don't call me out on this if this is wrong, because I have no idea if Massey Ferguson do these. Massey Ferguson HB 2281 ride-on lawnmowers. That's going to be your product page. Not a hub page again, Morphy Richards, a silver quick boil kettle. Your hub page is going to be quick boil kettles. So it's a case of looking at your site, looking at the product, and looking at the service, and saying, right, okay, well, this is what we do. These are the primary keywords, so there has to be a level of keyword research that's actually gone into this. And for the keyword research, there are, again, a number of tools that you can use. You can use SEMrush, you can use Google. There are specific tools that are out there you can actually do to use to find this as well. But it's all going to be about creating your hub pages at this point. Now then, if you get this mistaken, and if you start creating product pages instead of hub pages, then what you're going to end up with is lots and lots of products that people don't really search for. You want the big keyword terms. You want the terms ride-on lawnmowers. You don't want the term, as I say, Massey Ferguson rear engine drive lawnmowers with the grass cutters. That's not what anybody wants at the end of the day. That's not where your numbers are at. Okay. So once you've identified your hub pages, it helps at this stage to actually pop into Google. Now then, I'll use Google as an example here because this is free. Anybody can do this with the website, and you can use the site operator site colon. If you use that, and I've sort of picked on MoDirect because that was a perfect example for this because they actually have sort of done this right as well. So if you use site colon modirect.co.uk, and then put your primary keyword in there that you actually want to find. What that will show you is that's their hub page. That's the main page that they actually want to be ranking in Google. That is the next most prominent page for that particular phrase. So what you're going to be wanting to do now is you're going to say, right, okay, well, I want to actually create internal links from these internal pages, but strong internal pages, back to the primary hub. So that is what they have actually done here as well. But a hub page, you can't get away with just having an internal link on a hub page. On a primary page, it's got to be something that has an internal link like that, but surrounding content as well. If you just add lots and lots of keywords, internal links to primary pages throughout the site, chances are Google's not going to take a blind bit of notice, because it's one of the things we know from Google is they're all about making sure that your content makes sense. If your content makes sense to people, it makes sense to Google. If it makes sense to Google, then you're going to get some benefits from doing so as well. So you would add an internal link at this point from a particular page, a product page. It could be something along those sorts of lines that actually is, if from an e-commerce point of view, it could be one of the actual products that you're actually trying to sell at the moment. Okay, and if we look back again, we're onto your supporting content. They've got a really good page at this point. They've got a page that explains about the best lawnmowers. They've got a page that sort of talks to people about the product itself. And then they've got this ride-on tractor mowers, which is sat there in the content as well. And they always say, and I've had good results with this myself, with an internal link, try and get it within the above the fold with any of the content that you've actually got up there. If you bury it down the page, if you bury it down the site, Google's going to look at it and think, well, you buried that. It's probably not something that we should really know about. Okay. And here we move on to how do you decide which keywords that you should actually use? And this has always been something that has sort of drawn discussion in various sorts of fields. Internal linking, for me, this is what I find at the moment works, but I will probably myself reevaluate this in 6 months, because as we know, Google's always updating. 1,000, 1,500 updates a month. Something's going to change at some point. We're going to see something. So your primary is going to be this. This is your primary keyword. You're looking for the big money term, which is ride-on lawnmower or ride-on lawnmowers. That is going to have the lion's share of the searches for this particular phrase. If you want to then use another internal link, you'd use sort of 20% of these to have something like ride-on tractor lawnmower, because again, this is another search term that people are using for this particular product. But again, it's ride-on lawnmower that you want. So you have a part match for the phrase itself. Ride-on lawnmower, ride-on tractor lawnmower. If you go for 100% exact keyword match, Google's going to look at that and they're going to see exactly what you're doing and they're going to mark you down for it. I would then use a 10% for the remaining two. Ride-on rear engine lawnmower. Again, it's another phrase that people use to actually find these particular products. You want to let people know that this is something that's of interest. It's something that's related to it as well.
Andy, excuse me, are you happy to take questions as you go, or have we got to wait until the end?
Of course it is, yeah, I'm quite happy, yeah.
Thank you. When you say if you go for 100%, please... Or
of course, yeah.
what do you mean?
So 100% would be using nothing but the phrase ride-on lawnmower.
I see.
So if you use ride-on lawnmower for every single page that's being used as a power page to power your hub pages, that's not going to work for you. That'll work out quite against you.
So you need to vary the phrase.
You need to vary it, but you need to vary it so that there is still some main content in there as well. So Google understands that the big term that you're after is ride-on lawnmowers. So try and sort of vary these.
You as well as just putting your...
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Okay. So you've got your ride-on lawnmower, you've got your ride-on tractor lawnmowers, ride-on rear engine lawnmower, and again, like I say, so you've got that's sort of moving into the terms of use like your long tail search terms, because people will search for that. People aren't necessarily going to search for best ride-on lawnmower for 2018. They might do, but the search terms for this are actually quite low in comparison to ride-on lawnmower. So for these, it's about your supporting content. It's about making sure that you have something in there that explains what you're trying to do, explains to Google that it's still about ride-on lawnmowers, but it's another element of ride-on lawnmowers. And again, as I just explained, like I said, this is done to keep everything as natural as possible. It's the same as if you look at external link building, you vary things. You keep things varied to make sure that the people understand, so that Google understands, and to keep it out of penalty. So tools that you can use. Now then, obviously the first one that I showed you as well was using Google. So Google is obviously free for everybody who wants to make use of that, just using the search operators. But there are others as well which are very, very beneficial. And I would find this job very difficult if I wasn't using Sitebulb. Not an expensive tool, I think about £25 a month, something like that. And it will give you, apart from the fact that you can do like an audit on your website, it will give you this visualization of your site as well, which is the primary reason that I actually have Sitebulb, apart from the fact that it's good for audits as well. Ahrefs are moving very, very quickly through the market at the moment. Everybody's saying, right, okay, well, we need to have an Ahrefs account. Ahrefs is predominantly for link building and to find your backlinks. Moz used to be up there. Moz is now falling by the wayside a little bit. People aren't trusting the metrics as much. So Ahrefs is where people are going. But they have a tool in there. They have one particular tool within Ahrefs which allows you to find your most popular and your strongest pages based on links. So if you're looking to find a little bit more of an example of which of your popular pages, log into Ahrefs, which isn't the cheapest one around, unfortunately. I think it's about £100 a month. But if you want to sort of see which of your site, which of your pages are ranking well, then that's a good one to go for. SEMrush. Everybody knows of SEMrush. I think everybody knows of SEMrush. And whilst you wouldn't use it particularly to find internal pages within the site itself, or to get an idea of which are your strongest pages, it is very, very good for keyword research. Again, there are other tools out there which you can actually use this for, but SEMrush is probably my sort of first point of call. OnCrawl, and I have to give OnCrawl a mention because I'm one of their ambassadors. So I say they'd probably get told off if I didn't say that. But OnCrawl have actually sort of done some really good work recently as well. And they actually have now an internal link report, which has only really sort of come on board within the last 2 months, there or thereabouts. And their internal link report gives you two things. You have a visualization, which is not quite as good as the visualization you get with Sitebulb, but it will give you an idea and it will show you how your site is linked. It sort of starts from a circle and shows you how everything is sort of interlinked from within there as well. But ultimately, the internal link report will show you which pages are linked from where. And then finally, good old Search Console. And Search Console has one particular area which is your most linked to pages as well. So if you want to know what your site looks like, if you want to know how the site is actually interlinked at the moment, then what people tend to do is actually log into Search Console, look at the report itself, and then say, right, okay, well, I can see that there's too many pages interlinked to a particular product page, a particular category page. So you may want to make some changes around that. Because if you have internal links, everything going to a category page that you don't really want to have the products ranking well for, then you might want to make some changes on that as well. Okay, so internal linking, to summarize that, is all about making sure that everybody is happy. That's Google, that's visitors, crawlers, whoever it is, understands what it is that you're trying to actually get across to Google. There's no point in having pages upon pages upon pages that actually make no sense to anybody. Importantly, Google as well, because at the end of the day, it's all about the rankings. That's what we're going for. So yes, that's me done there, Andrew.